right? So when I think about, for example, why the Communist Party, why we are so excited to be here, there is a certain logic to it, because we have been working closely with Carl Davidson and Pat Fry and Ted Pearson and, you know, I shouldn't start naming names because then I'm going to, you know, there's so many of you out there. In the peace movement, we have been working closely together in the labor movement, and it's an outgrowth that we would want to be here to participate in this dialogue. And I think that if we were to think that we could premise left unity on political analysis, it would only emphasize our differences. And I think we already know where our differences are. But more importantly, I think we know where we agree. And there's a reason why in the movements we tend to come together and form caucuses and have conversations at different turning points from the last several years. It's because we all know that we are concerned about the working class. We are concerned about communities of color. We care about what is happening on the ground. We also know that there's something better. There's something better. There's something bigger. There are higher aims that we all aspire to. But in the final analysis, we all know how much we all care about the direction of this country, even under great duress, when the right wing was on the offensive. And I think the generation gap question is an interesting one, because what Linda was saying about us being in a similar kind of age group, with some exceptions. Look, we cut our teeth at a time when internationally colonialism was being overthrown. We were breaking down barriers. We were winning victories. But the working class was the most organized, coming, you know, into the 60s, and we began to feel like, you know, we're on the move. September 11th was a big break in that historic continuum. Not simply because of what happened in the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, but because there was a rising up again before September 11th of labor, community, environmentalists, the youth movement. We were on the move for global justice. We were saying another world is not only possible, it's necessary. When September 11th happened, that was a historic break in continuity. Every movement was set back. I'm not saying it was McCarthyism, but I'm saying that dissent was criminalized. And a lot of young people fell off the track. If you were in Seattle, you know that was the youth labor combat. People were in the streets, we were ready, right? But now, we have to take our strength, which is that we know what it's like to build movements that are on the offensive. We're in this transition, retooling period where the movements are going from defensive footing onto offensive, be proactive, proscribing what the needs are, what we need to be fighting for. And so it is so vital, and it's so true, I guess I would say truer now than ever, that our generation and the younger generations have to kind of find new ways to collaborate. I think that new social networking is part of it, but I also think we have to have different formats. And this panel is a good way to kind of this active listening process, but also dialogue debate, not just speech and time. Lastly, I want to say that in some ways, what Linda ended on is critical. You know, so much we want unity because we've been disunified at different points in time. We want unity because there's great changes going on, and we want the left to be stronger and help make movements, winning movements. But we can't let our hopes get in the way of the hard work of working together locally and nationally to develop tactics that strengthen the movements, because out of that, working together in labor movement, in the peace movement, so on, communities of color, immigrant rights movement, we're going to form even closer ties than we have now. And we're going to have more confidence in each other so that when the moment comes when we can put together a more organized national manifestation of left unity, we'll know it. We'll know it. It won't be one person's idea. It'll be something that will click. And lastly, I just want to say that you just don't know how many people in the Communist Party leadership, we probably had to have a national committee straw polling contest about who wanted to come and be here with you, because I'm just so happy.
That's a great note to begin to wrap up this session, which is significant for the putting into motion the notion of a correspondence on the left. With the idea of a correspondence, it gets away from the speech body. And it puts on the table a process that we're all engaged in. I want to ask you to do something, each of you panelists, while I'm doing this. Would you please write a question and submit it to us that you would have asked this panel? And put your name and organization to that. It comes from long habit. I spent my life in the classroom and nearly taught us. But the idea of a correspondence, I think, for us when we go back to our organizations and our communities, is something to look at and to define in relation to the work that we do. Our work, even in demonstrations, a demonstration is a seminar. The activist work is really educational work. And it's getting those ideas and turning them into a material force, so mobilizing the activities and the interests of working people. I want to thank the members of this panel, and I'll call their names again, and please hold your applause until I finish. Mildred Williamson of the Committees of Correspondence for Democracy and Socialism, Jamala Rogers of Freedom Road Socialist Organizations, Linda Burnham, an independent political activist, Michael Rubin, Solidarity, Joe Swartz of Democratic Socialists of America, and Judith Babak of the Communist Party USA. Thank you.